Ready? On this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast, we're going to talk about music therapy. What is it? How is it done? And can it benefit you? And also, as usual, we're going to be giving away a bunch of free stuff. So stay tuned.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What is going on, people? This is David Wright. We are back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast. Hope everybody is doing well. We are here in the Podcast Detroit Northville Studios. With me today is Jamie. Jamie's in.
Hey.
Thanks, brother. Thanks for helping out. I know Matt couldn't be here today, but Jamie will be taking his place. Well, I don't know about taking his place. I mean, you know, you're not the same. But...
Matt is irreplaceable.
Well, you can say the same thing about you. Yeah. So thanks, Jamie. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. So let me tell you where you can find me. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. Again, on a website, you can find my podcast page and my shop page and all kinds of other good stuff. So check that out. You can find me on Facebook and YouTube. Both of those are Motor City Hypnotist. Just as far as the YouTube goes as well, I know that you guys, if you're listening to the audio portion of this podcast, which is what a podcast is, I do record all the video for the podcast as well, and those get posted to Facebook, I don't know, maybe a week or so after the audio episodes come out. So take a look at that if you'd like. And I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Both of those are Motor City Hypno. And if you would like to contribute financially to the show, I would greatly appreciate that. I am on Patreon. Those of you who don't know, Patreon is a creator site where you can support somebody who is creating something that you like to watch or listen to. And it's very minimal contributions there. Nothing that's going to break the bank or anything. But, you know, I would appreciate it. And you get kind of cool stuff like coffee mug. And I don't have my T-shirt on today, but that's up there as well. And you can also get early access to the podcast, which is like 2 days after they're recorded. And you can also get a shout out or promote something that you're doing on the show. So take a look at that. I would appreciate it. And we're also giving away a bunch of free stuff today. A free hypnosis guide as usual, and my Hypnosis for Confidence MP3 download. That will be in the show notes as well. And finally, the most important thing, I guess, is wherever you're listening to the podcast, whether it's Apple, iTunes, Spotify, wherever it is, if you could subscribe and leave a review, that would help me out. I was saying last week, I think on last podcast, I have a bad habit of just like pulling up a podcast and listening to it, and I rarely subscribe, just because I'm like, oh, let me listen to that. Okay, that's good. But I know I'm learning that if they're ones that I like and I want to support, I am subscribing now and leaving reviews because that helps them as well.
Oh, it helps immensely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's how you get noticed, you know, hopefully. So yeah, I would appreciate that. Wherever you're listening, yeah, take a look at that, subscribe and leave a review. I will thank you greatly for that. In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast is brought to you by Banner Season. Online marketing is saturated and people rarely open their emails. Are you in sales or does your business market to customers? How do you connect with family, friends, and clients? Banner Season takes your marketing into the real world by delivering kindness and thoughtfulness directly to your clients physically. Imagine the excitement of your family, friends, and customers as they receive personalized cards and gifts in their mailboxes. Go to bannerseason.com/fantastic and begin today to express kindness and make connections with others. Again, that's bannerseason.com/fantastic. And the link to that will also be in the show notes if you want to take a look at that or click on the link directly. That would be great. And just as a heads up, or just as a information sake, I do get a cut from that or get some remunerations from that. It doesn't affect you, but just so you know, I'm an affiliate or sponsor for that program. But I use it, so it's great. I would highly recommend it. All right, so it is time for our winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
All right, this week's winner comes from Salt Lake City, Utah. So I'll try to there. It was a long article and I kind of cut it down. So this guy actually works for this news outlet. His name's Andy Larson. He does articles on their website and for the news outlet. So long story short, his mom had called him and said, "Hey, I found some stuff in the house." And there was this a SpongeBob SquarePants box filled with change from like when he was a kid that she found. So he's like, "All right, I'll come and get it." And he said, out of what I assume was pandemic induced boredom, she counted the money inside and found that there was $70 in coins.
Okay.
Along with some rocks, a Utah Jazz pin, and a battery. So, she found the haul for him.
That's it.
So he picked up the box and then he said, "I have a slightly more adult, but not much more adult cup that I throw change into regularly." So I took all of these coins to my bank. The result, I had a veritable treasure trove on my hands of $165.84. The 2 coin jars that started it all. So long story short, he thought, well, what am I going to do with $165? He says, I'm just going to find something to do with it. Right. So he's a sports writer. Actually, that's he says one of the unique aspects of being a sports writer is having thousands of avid fans follow you on social media. I thought that one of those fans would need the money for something more than I did. So I tweeted, rather than keeping it, I want to give that money out to a few people who could use the help for the household's Thanksgiving dinner or for Christmas presents. That's what he tweeted. He got a couple of direct messages from people who needed help. He said, all right, that's cool. 5 minutes later, he got a message from a follower, Jeff Jones, on Twitter. I don't know Jeff. This is his statement. I don't know Jeff, but he said he wanted to add $150 to it. Long story short, in a matter of half a day, it was up to $3,000 of people retweeting and just donating.
Nice.
Retweeting, donating. And then another half hour, it was 7,000. So total, he's at nearly $50,000.
Holy smokes.
Of donations just from people tweeting and retweeting.
And he's going to pass us back
he's
out in Salt Lake City.
On to people in need in the city.
Nice.
Or in the area. Yep. He said in 24 hours, people sent me $49,330 and he never asked for a single penny. So
that is
congrats to Andy Larson for starting it, but then all of his followers for just, carrying the torch and building that up. So, yeah, and residents in and around Utah or where he's at are gonna get help for it.
Even when people are hurting, they're still
absolutely
helping. I love it.
That's. I mean, I like to see that, especially with all the shit that we have to deal with going on in the world today. So yes, Andy Larson and the people of Utah who donated, you are winners of the week.
That's how winning is done.
It is.
So, back to it.
So we're talking this week. Our subject this week is a little off, kind of off the beaten path a little bit, but we're going to talk about music therapy.
Oh.
And I don't know if anybody's ever even heard that this existed. So I'll make a very long. I want to make a disclaimer up front first of all, because there are therapists out there who are actually certified in music therapy. That have certifications specifically for that.
Music calms a savage beast.
So just so you know, I'm not a certified music therapist. I just want to make that clear up front. But I use music a lot with my clients, especially clients who are either musical, play an instrument, write music. I have a couple clients right now that will they'll see me week to week. And the first thing we talk about when we start a new session is somebody will say, "Oh man, I wrote a new song. You got to hear it." And it's so I use it for a therapeutic reason, as far as in general, just getting, expressing your feelings and putting things down on paper, making a song about it, being creative, feeling better about yourself, boost your self-esteem. I mean, all of these things come into play.
Most singers and songwriters are tortured beasts.
Right. It's funny you say that, because yeah, you're right. Most songs come up from a place of either total despair or total jubilation.
Yeah.
I mean, one or the other. So it's funny, but there are certified music therapists specifically that deal with music to help people feel better. So let me get into that a little bit. It's an established health profession. It's been around for a long time. So it's in the definition, I would say it's used in a therapeutic relationship to address physical, emotional, cognitive, and social needs of individuals. So what the therapist does is they might involve, like I said, instruments, singing, songwriting, creation, things like that. And they also, and a lot of times I suggest this to clients, is that, if they enjoy something, well, Jamie, there are probably times on a song, you'll have a song on in the car and you just feel great. You just turn it up and, well, you're a DJ, so
Yeah.
It's a song that as soon as you hit it, everybody runs to the dance floor.
Yep.
That kind of feeling.
Oh yeah.
So even just listening to music, it just makes you feel good, especially if it's something you really dig and you really get into. So just that in and of itself, honestly, that's releasing endorphins. You're having a physical and emotional response to something you're hearing. So music therapy, certified music therapists work in all of those avenues to kind of help people express themselves and a lot of issues and a lot of areas that you probably wouldn't feel like that it would be, I don't know, applicable, I guess would be a good word, because a lot of they use music therapy a lot in physical therapy as well, for people recovering from injuries or people who are have some physical limitations or physical pain. And it goes back to the whole thing of music releasing endorphins and making you feel better. Because if you feel better emotionally, mentally, that relates to how you feel physically. So let me tell you what a therapy session from a certified music therapist might look like. So it's going to incorporate different elements such as making music, writing songs, or even just listening to music. So music therapists are trained. It's definitely more than music. They're trained therapists as well. All of them have a degree in mental health and have a license to practice as therapists, but they specialize in music therapy, and they can address, all kinds of things with the music therapy. And just so you know, if somebody's a certified music therapist, they have to pass an exam and get certified just like any other professional would. So just like any other therapist, if you go to see a music therapist, you're going to set out up front and lay out what your goals are. What do you want to work on? Maybe you have depression and you feel down and you just want to have something that's going to help lift your mood. Maybe you want to work on reducing your anxiety and feeling more relaxed. They can use that music to get to that, to achieve that goal as well. So some possibilities as far as how this can help you. It can improve your mood, can enhance your quality of life, strengthen your coping skills, encourage emotional expression, relieve stress and symptoms of anxiety. Now, one of the things that I kind of stress with my clients a lot, if we're working like specifically like as far as writing, because I give the assignment many times to my clients of write this down or write what you're feeling, especially people who like to write. And sometimes when you write it, it's almost like you're purging it because you're putting it on the paper. And then when you read it back later, sometimes it gives you a different perspective on how you're feeling and why you're feeling that way. And music is the same way. If I'm working with a client who likes to write or likes to create music, I'll have them create a song. I'm like, let's do a song this week just on how you're feeling and put it in, make a song. And a lot of people love it because it lets them be creative. It lets them express themselves. And sometimes it's easier to express yourself in a medium rather than directly. Well, I mean, I know some people are not very direct, so they get hung up on trying to express themselves with words. But then if you let them write something or create a song or sing something. It's just a different avenue to express themselves. So that's helpful. So a typical music therapy session with a certified music therapist typically is like 30 minutes to an hour. And just like any normal counseling or therapy session, it just depends on what the needs are and what you're looking to do. And most of these, as far as music therapists go, most of the time it's one-on-one, but there are groups out there where they actually will have music therapy groups where they have, maybe 6, 8, 10 people in a group. And then you discuss music and being creative. And then you get support from others around you, which is another benefit of having that group therapy. So let's go back to the whole idea of music, because that's the whole kind of underlying theme of why somebody would go see a music therapist, is that they enjoy music. I mean, if you don't like music, you probably would not go. Probably not going to say, hey, I hate music, so let me go to a music therapist.
Yeah.
Then they would say,
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, what are you here for? So there are certain situations. So let's say somebody has trouble, and I have a lot of people with insomnia and anxiety issues, and it's hard for them to go to sleep at night. They'll lie down in bed and they're just wide awake and they can't go to sleep, and they get frustrated. Now they're up for till 2, 3 a.m. And I always make suggestions. I'm like, well, let's do this. Let's put some relaxing music on, something that just sounds relaxing or something that makes you feel relaxed. And believe me, there's a lot of I don't want to say bad music. I wouldn't say bad, but there's a lot of like relaxation type music. Not that you'd listen to at a party, but definitely things that would calm you down and make you feel good and just keep putting you in a relaxed state. So I make the suggestion, try listening to music. That may help you. It'll take your mind off of it. You're listening to something. Your mind's not thinking and going down that rabbit hole of overthinking things. So that's a suggestion that I make to a lot of my clients. Switch to calm music. That will calm you down. If you have struggle with getting motivated, or if you have struggle with depression, listen to something that's going to make you excited. That's going to make you want to move. That's the big thing. If you have that physical urge to want to move when you're listening to music, it's hard to feel down because you're heightening your senses. You're making yourself move and get excited about something. So just as it can work both ways, whether you want to relax or whether you want to fire yourself up. And Tony Robbins is a big proponent on one of these things. And those of you who are familiar with Tony Robbins or ever been to one of his things, he's like, man, he says, when people are down, you can just see it in their physiology. They almost slumped over, like, just like, just have that glazed look in their eye. They just look down. He said that and he'll do it at his seminars. It's been years since I've been to one, but he'll say, okay, I want everybody to stand up. Now, right now, I just want you to give me just give me a yell. Just yell and pump your fist. Woo! People pump their fist and yell, and he goes, no, I want you to really do it. So people are just screaming their heads off, pumping their arms. He said, now, there's no way you can feel bad when you're doing that. It's just impossible. Yeah. He says you change the physiology and it changes your mindset. And the way I'm using that analogy is that once you change that mindset and that physiology, and music can help you do that, because again, it's hard not to move when you're listening to certain things. I won't admit things that I may move to. I mean, I can't think of anything specific right offhand, but.
Like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
Yeah, but I probably have some embarrassing songs that I would turn up in the car and say, oh man, I love this. Yeah, exactly. You don't have any right offhand, do you, Jamie?
LaBouche, Be My Lover.
I'll just put a general one out there. Like, I mean, I might hear a Britney Spears song and oh yeah, sure. I can get moving to that. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I don't own any of her music, but So that's a way that you can change your mindset as far as using music to make yourself relaxed or to make yourself excited. There is a difference. And I want to make this point out this difference. There's a difference between music therapy and sound therapy, because there's actually another vein of mental health that's called sound therapy. Now, sound therapy deals more with what I would like to call vibrations and tones and pitches. So tuning forks, chimes, drums, bells.
It was great. The bowls.
Yeah,
those
bowls. Yeah, the
vibrational
vibrational bowls. Yeah. And actually, it's funny you say it because it's based on Tibetan cultural practices. It's sound that's healing, and they used to use sound to heal people and to make them feel better. So that I'm just making the differentiation between the two because they both could be effective. I know we're focusing specifically today on music therapy, but sound therapy is also something that could be beneficial for you. Now, I don't know in general, just from my research, I don't know that there's any certification for sound therapy. I don't know if you can just take your bowls and go get certified, but definitely music therapists can be certified. So that's kind of the difference. Drums, flutes, chimes, bells, tuning forks, natural sounds, running water, white noise sounds. Those things can also be used to help you. I know, boy, there are countless people I talk to that cannot sleep at night unless they have a fan on. They need that white noise sound. Or people that fall asleep with a TV on just because they need noise to go to sleep because the silence is too much for them. So there are avenues also as far as music versus sound, or maybe a combination of both. And then that could be helpful and therapeutic for you as well. So now while sound therapy or sound healing, it's kind of a complementary or alternative medicine. It still can be incorporated into your music stuff and into your therapy. And what I would say is that if you're in, and it may, well, we'll get to the recommendation when we get done with, when we get nearer to the end, because I'm going to make you, I'm going to tell you how to find a music therapist. And if you can't, what you can do. So let me tell you, like, who can use music therapy. Maybe you're saying to yourself, well, I'm really not a music person. I don't have any, I can't sing. I don't play anything. I don't even know how to read music. So I would say that it doesn't really matter. If you've ever listened to music and enjoyed it, then music therapy could be something that you would benefit from. The big thing about it is it can be highly personalized. I mean, ask 100 people what their favorite song is. You're going to get 100 different answers probably, because it's a very personal thing and people have, different tastes. So music therapy, even if you're not musical, can be useful for you. And going back to, relieving simple stress and treating mental and physical illness. Research has shown that music has a powerful effect on people with dementia and other memory-related disorders. And I won't go too far into the details of the research, but they found that people with any type of brain degenerative disease, such as Alzheimer's or dementia, they might get confused about simple things that they do, as far as, like, especially driving or even recognizing people sometimes. But often they'll remember a song. That will click with them because it's something that just registers with the human brain.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is pretty amazing. I mean, if you're, I had a grandfather who went through Alzheimer's, and it just kind of whittles away your awareness of what's going on.
There was this amazing video of a 96-year-old woman, severely dementia. She was a ballerina, and she's wheelchair bound, and they played the Swan Lake.
Oh,
and that's the big ballet. I mean, she was like a really renowned Russian ballerina. And her arms, and she was moving her arms, and she was doing all, and they played like an old video of her, and she was nailing it.
Oh, she was doing all the moves exactly right, huh?
Just her arms were doing great. Right. You could see her legs like trying to move.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was like, music just could pulled her back.
It just made that connection.
Dementia coma.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So as far as depression goes, there's a couple of studies that have been done. A 2017 study showed that music therapy can be an effective component of depression treatment. According to the research cited, the use of music therapy was most beneficial to people with depression when it was combined with the usual treatments, such as psychotherapy and behavior modification. Now, I will say, I want to make a disclaimer. I'm not saying that if you're clinically depressed, you definitely need to talk to someone. I'm not recommending you just focus on music, but that can be a tool that we can use to help you with that. So definitely if you're feeling depressed or clinically depressed or have any kind of thoughts of self-harm, it's definitely you need to call somebody and talk to them. But we can implement music therapy in that. A small study published in the Journal of Affective Disorders in 2015 indicated that when used in combination with other forms of treatment, music therapy may help reduce obsessive thoughts, depression, and anxiety in people with OCD or obsessive compulsive disorder. And I think we hit on OCD at one point on one of the podcasts recently. A 2016 research conducted a feasibility study that explored how music therapy could be combined with cognitive behavioral therapy to treat depression, with findings being promising. They went into the details of the findings, but the fact that the results were promising, that it showed promise that it could help. The self-help group concept, which researchers named cognitive behavioral therapy-based music therapy, has proven to be an effective option for treating mild to moderate depression symptoms. So, yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I go back to the whole physiology and mental change as far as, I mean, it's really hard to be down when you just hear something you just kicks ass and you like to hear, and you just like to hear it and move with it. Other areas such as insomnia, and I mentioned that earlier in the episode, is that sometimes, there are a lot of people on sleeping aids right now as far as medications go. I'm sure I've said this 100 times in this podcast. That's not my first option when a client comes in. Medication is never my number one go-to. I'm like, well, let's see what else works first. Let's make that a last resort, because I don't want people taking anything if they don't have to. But I go back to the white noise that we talked about. Many people find music or white noise helps them fall asleep. And research has shown that music therapy is helpful for people with sleep disorders or insomnia. And then compared to pharmaceuticals, again, going back to medication, music is less invasive, more affordable, and something a person can do on their own to self-manage. So again, you wouldn't even need intervention of a doctor or a therapist or anything like that. This is something you can do. If I would say to clients, if something makes you feel good, then just do that. Yeah. I mean, as long as it's not hurting someone else. But the big thing is if you're, if it feels good to you, just continue to do that.
Okay.
Oh, I got to say hi to Alan. Alan popped in a bit ago. Alan Benson, he's our weekly viewer. What's going on, Alan? Let's get back to your tacos. Friday must be taco nights for you, Alan. Because last time he was on a couple weeks ago. Oh, we on our nutrition podcast, and he was making tacos. So
Kendra and Matt checked in as well.
Oh, Kendra, my wife, is checking in, and Matt's checking in. Good job. Oh, hey, Matt.
What the fuck are you doing?
I know he'll enjoy that. Yeah. I used to give that to Alan too. Okay, Alan.
What the fuck are you doing?
So another study found that music therapy was helpful with post-surgical pain, pain after surgery, and reducing the pain levels and helping people have more tolerance to the pain. And going into pain, music has also been a popular pain management strategy during labor and childbirth. A 2019 study showed that childbirth appears to be a positive, accessible, non-pharmacological option for pain management. That is, music therapy assisted childbirth appears to be a positive, accessible, non-pharmacological option for pain management, with benefits for laboring mothers and newborns. This is an interesting one. So you have a baby, they just come out of the womb, they're newborn, and they do, of course, they look the baby over and they give the neonatal pain management just to make sure that the baby has feeling. And it's a heel prick. They poke their heel with a needle. One study found that music added to the standard neonatal pain management during heel prick blood tests. The infant's facial expressions and vitals were noticeably different when you were playing music. Like less extreme.
All right.
Yeah. which is fascinating when you're 2 minutes old.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 2 minutes old from your birth.
Sure.
Yeah. So a lot of information regarding music and music therapy. And like I said, your therapist doesn't have, and let me hit on this because I think this is the big thing. If you're seeing a therapist, or even if you're not, and you want to see a therapist, I'm going to leave a link in the show notes of a site. And it gives a list of all of the certified music therapists in your area. And I'm going to leave that in the show notes so that if you're interested in that, you can look it up. Now, I would say if you're seeing a what I call a regular therapist like myself, ask your therapist, say, hey, I'm really into music. Is there any way that we can incorporate this into my treatment or into my therapy? And most therapists are really eclectic in their approaches. I mean, I don't know many therapists that just have this one way of doing things, because that's not very effective if you're just stuck on one thing. But yeah, ask your therapist, hey, can we incorporate music into our therapy sessions? And I'm sure they would probably be like, sure, we can do that. I mean, but just be aware that if you're looking for what we call a certified music therapist, and that's specifically what you're looking for, they would have that certification. But yeah, if otherwise, ask your therapist. I'm telling you, I work with clients all the time, either on writing. Especially people who like to write, I will say, hey, let's write a story. I want you to write a story. I want you to be the character in it, though, and I want you to put yourself in the story, and I want you to write this out. And it's amazing what they come up with, because they're removing it and putting on paper. So they're kind of separating themselves from what's going on, and it's really, really effective. And same thing with music. I have a client right now. Like I said, every week we check in. I'm like, oh, what'd you write this week? I want to hear your new song. He'll get his guitar out and play it and sing it, and he's happy. Yeah. So it's a cool thing. So next episode, speaking of music, so I thought we'd do something a little bit more fun. We haven't had a top 10 list in a while.
Nope.
Next episode, I'm going to give you my top 10 movie scores. It's not the soundtrack. It's not the songs that go with it that go onto the album, but the scores, where the composers put the music under the movie. For those of you who are musically challenged, that's what a score is.
Yes. Yes.
So we're going to talk about that next episode. So come on back for that. Should be a lot of fun. In the meantime, change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. We will see you next time.
All right, stop.
You guys
keep that rolling.
You still didn't get that other channel fixed?
No, yeah, it's still.
I just see that. I see that error message every time I look.
Yeah, it's something in the app. It's not in here. So
yeah.
Dave's reconfigured. They closed down the Royal Oak.
Oh, did they? Like for good?
Office. Yeah. He stripped it out.
Wow.
And, they're opening one in Hamtramck. And then there was a plan to move the Royal Oak one, but that got slowed down. And it's just like Dave's installing one in his house as well.
Oh, so okay.
It's kind of interesting. But
that's odd that the Royal Oak one would have moved. That seems like a great area to, get people in.
It is. It was just kind of. He's reconsidering how everything's working, just because the way he was able to reshuffle during this, he's like, well, do we need that much space? And that much space a lot of times leads to you get a lot of people, and then the people are interfering with each other. There was some conflict with that. So this is gonna fix a few problems too. So.
Well, no, probably. I mean, the whole point is if you can have one space and fill it up, why have three spaces that's only 1/3 full? Because you just have all that empty time that you're paying for.
There was a lot of that.
Yeah.
All right. You want me to kick it off again?
Yeah. Let's roll. Let's knock the other one out.
All right. That's rolling.
In this episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast, we're following up our last podcast. We talked about music therapy. So I thought I'd go and give you my top 10 movie scores, music and movies that I enjoy. And these would be my top 10. So you may not agree, which is fine. You can let me know what you like. Also, we're giving away a bunch of free stuff, such as a hypnosis guide and my download, Hypnosis for Confidence. So stick around and we'll be right back.
Get ready for the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright, originating from the suburbs of Detroit, Michigan. He has hypnotized thousands of people from all over the United States. David R. Wright has been featured on news outlets all across the country and is the clinical director of an outpatient mental health and hypnosis clinic located just south of Detroit, where he helps people daily using the power of hypnosis. Welcome, the Motor City Hypnotist, David R. Wright.
What's going on, everyone? This is David Wright, the Motor City Hypnotist, and we are back with another episode of the Motor City Hypnotist Podcast. Thanks for checking in. I really appreciate you listening. And those of you on Facebook Live, I appreciate you checking in live as we record. So we are here in the Podcast Detroit Northville Studios. With me today is Jamie, man on the board. Matt's off today, but he will be back. So I appreciate Jamie being here and help me out.
For sure.
Keep everything in control and, sounding good.
And we are rocking and rolling.
So let me tell you where you can find me. My website is motorcityhypnotist.com. On the website, as I've mentioned many times before, you can find the podcast page with all of my episodes. You can find my store, which you can get my MP3 downloads, some ebooks, and a couple other items that might be of interest. I haven't looked at the store in a while, so I don't remember what's on there. And you can also find, what I'm thinking of is my, you can also order shows, videos of shows that I've done in the past. So if maybe you've seen one, or maybe you were in one, or maybe you just want to buy one and watch it, that would be cool too. So the links to all of that is on my website. You can find me on social media, Facebook and YouTube. Both of those are Motor City Hypnotist. And as we record the podcast, I'm putting the videos onto YouTube about a week after they release, as far as the podcast releases. So you can come and rewatch that. And if you want to see my face, that's cool. So it'll be there. It'll be on YouTube.
Like it or not.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. Both of those are Motor City Hypno. And if you'd like to contribute financially to the show, which I would greatly appreciate, you can find me on Patreon. That's our creator site where fans and people who want to support somebody's creation, such as a podcast, can donate money on a monthly basis to kind of help the show out. And that would really help me and the show along. And again, very minimal donations. I mean, we're talking, less than $5. And you get cool stuff like a coffee mug, which I have here, which those of you on video can see. And t-shirts and early access to podcasts, which you'll get a couple of days after they're recorded rather than a week and a half later. And also you can, if there's something you want to push or promote, I can give you a shout out on the show. So check that out on Patreon. And probably the most important thing is wherever you're listening, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, if you could please subscribe and leave a review. I know I've been really focusing on this the last few podcasts because I've admittedly, I'm guilty of this. I will listen to podcasts and not subscribe, even though I listen to them all the time. So now that I've been doing this for a long time, I realize the importance of, if you really like something, subscribe, because it helps them. It helps the creator. It helps the podcast, the person who's running the podcast. So if you could just subscribe and leave a review, I would very much appreciate it. All right. It is time for our winner of the week.
That's how winning is done.
All right. This comes from Estero, Florida. I'm going to preface this by saying, I'm sure you've been to Florida, right, Jamie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what would be the worst thing for you about living in Florida if you're by the water?
Sand? Sand in your shorts?
That could be a bad thing.
Spring break?
If you're Anakin Skywalker.
But, spring breakers?
Spring breakers and alligators.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
so I'm going to share the story. It has a happy ending, just so people don't worry.
Okay.
So I'm trying not to give it away in the beginning. So Richard Wilbanks is the owner of Gunner, who is a King Charles Spaniel. He bought the dog, or they got the dog at a place in Miami, a breeder, and Richard took Gunner home to his wife Louise in Estero. And he said they are always together, companions, and Richard and Gunner went out for walks all the time. He was just like, when somebody gets their dog, it's like their best friend. So the pair were walking along the shoreline where, unseen to either Richard or the dog Gunner, an alligator was on alert. In an instant, the 4-foot gator lunged from the water and grabbed Gunner and dragged him into the water, his dog. Without any hesitation, Richard leapt into the water after the puppy and the gator that had it in its jaws. Richard said it was like a missile. We were only about 3 feet away from it, but it struck like a snake. It had Gunner in a vice grip, and I just rushed in. Immediately following the attack, Gunner was in shock, the dog. Once Richard was able to pry Gunner free, the gator clamped down on his hands, and then he had to free himself.
Mm-hmm.
The pair made it back to the house, both dripping in blood.
Ugh.
So after a quick fix on Richard's hands, Gunner went to the animal hospital where doctors found a puncture wound. X-rays showed only some water in the lungs, and the puppy stayed at the hospital for a few days to recover. So long story short, Gunner, the dog, is fine. Richard, the owner, is fine.
Yeah.
The biggest shock on this, and it's just a good story because he fought that gator to get this dog away from him.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave a link in the show notes because there's video of
There's
this.
video of it. Yes.
Did you see it?
I've seen it.
Yes. Okay. So I want to prepare people. There's a happy ending, but just be prepared.
Oh, it's disturbing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because the dog's screaming and yelping, as he's in this gator's mouth and drug under. So,
right.
So I just want to give people a heads up. It's a great story with a great ending, but if that's going to bother you, don't watch it.
All right. And part 2 of it is when he jumped in, he had a cigar in his mouth.
Oh, I didn't see that part.
And he never drops his cigar.
I have to rewatch it again.
He comes out.
I didn't notice that.
I first saw it on a cigar fan website, and somebody was like, "I want to know what brand of cigar that is that held up to," because he went fully submerged.
No, he went in because the dog and the gator were underwater when he went in,
and he came up with his cigar, and he had it in his mouth still, and he got threw the dog up on shore, and the dog ran towards the house, and then his cigar, he never dropped his cigar.
I'll have to go back to that. I didn't even notice that.
That's why I was giggling. It's like I'm over here laughing just because I just remember this guy and his cigar, and I wasn't giggling about the dog getting hurt.
No, yeah.
We're glad the puppy's okay, but he didn't.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, that's great. So Gunner and Richard, Gunner's owner, who are all okay. He rescued his dog from a gator attack. They're our winners of the week.
That's how winning is done.
Yes, it is. So again, I want to reemphasize. I'm going to post the link to the video, but if they're all good, but if that dog screaming is going to bother you and seeing it, don't watch it. I want to make sure nobody yells at me later like, why did you make me watch this? They'll be like,
what the fuck are you doing?
I'm just posting a video. That's all. It's your choice to watch. So we're talking today. So last episode, we did a whole episode on music therapy and how music can be therapeutic, how it can help people with different things, how it can be used in therapy settings. So, and we haven't done a top 10 list in a long time, and I've given you guys a few of mine. But what I'm focusing on today, since we're following up the music therapy episode, is I'm gonna count down my top 10 movie scores.
Oh.
Now, again, for those of you who I think I have to consider myself a movie snob a little bit.
Right.
There are just certain things that I expect from a good movie, and music is probably one of the main things.
Okay.
these top 10 might be totally off from what you might like or think, but these are my personal top 10. And I always find that, and imagine a movie, and there, I'm sure there have been videos because I've seen them on YouTube or whatever. What is a movie like without music?
Right.
And if you've watched them where they'll pull the soundtrack out or the score out and just play the scene, and there's like no, it's just dead. It's just no feeling to it. So we are going to count down my top 10 movie scores. And again, this is the music that's that part of the movie, not necessarily songs from a movie, because that would be different. That's a soundtrack.
Sure.
And Jamie would know that. He's a DJ.
Oh yeah.
I don't think you play many scores during your DJ gig though.
Dinner. And
then, you're right. You could do that for dinner.
Matt's done some really crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Matt should be here because he's done like video game scores, like Legend of Zelda.
Yes.
But those things are like movie scores.
No, they are.
For dinners and like pre-ceremony, when you just the filler music before a ceremony. A lot of times we'll use that type of music.
Oh, see, that's awesome. That's all the stuff I love.
But they're not dance floor fillers. They're not.
Yeah. Oh no, they're not dance floor fillers. So let's start out with number 10. And just for those of you listening, you're going to hear a few seconds of it, but we're not going to do more than that, just so we don't get copyright strike.
Yeah.
A few seconds is fine. And as long as I'm talking over it. So number 10 is this one. You'll know it as soon as it starts in. Yeah, it's Lord of the Rings.
Okay. Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Trilogy. That whole thing was quite a production. Well, as far as just making it was a miracle, but
right.
But doing all of those, shooting it all at the same time, and the orchestration and the effects, that just again from top to bottom was a great class.
Orchestration.
Yes, the orchestration. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good. Yeah. You're a DJ. You know,
throwing the puns. Just throwing the puns. Like the orcs. All right. Anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, like the orcs.
Fair play.
So, Lord of the Rings. Howard Shore was a composer. Composed all the music for the trilogy. And I don't know if he did the Hobbit trilogy or not, but throughout, great music throughout.
Sure.
Yeah. Almost every scene has great music in that one. And I'm partial to Lord of the Rings as well.
Yes.
So. Number 9 is a little bit, I'd say it's a little bit more obscure, and you might or may not know it when you hear it, but it's this one. Yeah. I know that sounds like a very simple tune. It's just piano and a little bit of
Sure.
It's from American Beauty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, yeah. The rose petals.
Yeah, the rose petals. And of course, I hate to bring this up, but the movie's a bit more creepier since Kevin Spacey got in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying.
Holy crap!
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Hollywood is a wicked, weird place, man.
Yeah, we don't want to spend too much time on him. Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Too late, Kendra. That's how we kick things off.
I know. That's what she says. What'd she say?
She said, "Please don't say Lord of the Rings."
Oh, well, she's going to be happy though.
We started with this.
She loved American Beauty. She loved that movie.
All right.
Yeah. So actually, Kendra, keep listening if you're still on, because I have one that it's very obscure, but she will love it.
Is this in no particular order? Are we?
I'm kind of going from 10 down. Yeah, we are. We're counting down to number 1. So Lord of the Rings was 10.
All right.
American Beauty, it was composed by Thomas Newman.
Okay.
He did all of the music for the film.
Is that Randy's brother?
Yeah, you don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's a small person.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Sorry.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, so this one, and I'll tell you the movie. It's one of the X-Men movie. It's The Last Stand, which for most people, and I don't know if you're an X-Men fan as far as the movies go.
Not fanatic, but I enjoy them.
So The Last Stand was really got dumped on by a lot of fans, saying that was their least favorite. For me, I found this one to be my favorite of all the first three in the trilogy. It's the third one.
Okay.
And I don't know. I found this one. This is one of my favorite ones.
I like them all. I'll watch them. I mean, if they're on, and the same thing, Lord of the Rings. If it's on, I'm watching it. Harry Potter, I'm on. I'm watching it.
Yep. So in X-Men: The Last Stand, and again, let me give you a few seconds of that, and it's just such great music. It's just big and just yeah. That's from John Powell. He is the composer.
All right.
John Powell.
Is that because as you were doing that, as we were in between, and we knew this was coming, I looked at a couple of lists of composers, and you are not siding with the critics so far.
Oh, I'm not. I don't have any of the critics' top ones.
Not yet. Well, Lord of the Rings.
But well, I'm going to assume a lot of them had, and I have to again. I probably tried to stay period current.
But
like
this is your list.
Like Gone with, I'm sure like Gone with the Wind or Casablanca or. Another one that always gets is a couple of the Westerns, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Lawrence of Arabia.
Lawrence of Arabia is another one. So I do recognize the music is great in those, but I'm kind of keeping it relatively current.
Okay. All right.
Let's say 20 years.
I'm dying to see your list because I got one I know that is my favorite, and we'll see where it appears on your list.
We'll see if it is.
If it makes it.
Yeah, if it does. If not, you can just shut me off because Jamie's at the switch. He could just turn me off any second.
Right? I have complete control. You will listen to every word I have to say. Well, yeah, no, it's these are some good ones. I like the off the beaten track here.
Yeah, and again, it's not. There are a couple like ones that are not going to be a surprise. So X-Men: Last Stand, John Powell. That was number 8.
Love it.
This is the one my wife will like if she's listening.
All right.
Because she loves this movie. And it's very obscure, but the music is fantastic in this. And it was done by the sound score was done by the band Air.
Oh.
The movie is Virgin Suicides. I don't know if you saw that movie or not. It's just got this very eerie, creepy vibe in all of the music. It's just really cool, which lends itself to the story because it's a very I don't want to say weird movie, but it's definitely odd. Let's say that.
Well, Sofia Coppola.
Yeah. At least she was not acting in it.
Yeah,
that's the good thing. Great director.
Yes.
Yes. But not so much as an actress.
Yeah.
So that one was
Kirsten
Virgin
Dunst
Suicides. Robert or James Woods was in that as well.
Yeah.
He was the father. Yeah. I know my wife loves that movie. I don't know why that's always stuck in my head because just the music is just I don't know that really when I listen to it or when I watch the movie I'm like I have to look up the soundtrack and just see who wrote this and what they did with it. So that is number 7. Mm-hmm. Again, a little obscure. So we're going to get into something which will probably, as soon as you hear it, it'll probably just makes total sense. And of course, a lot of these things have become kind of caricatures of themselves in a way, but this is number 6. Yeah. It's just classic. It's
Raiders.
Yeah. It's just, the music fits the movie and it all just carries the thing forward. And John Williams, of course,
right.
He has a couple of appearances in our list. I'm sure you can know what the other one is.
Yeah.
Interesting because he's done a lot of stuff. But I'll refer back to him when we come to his next entry. I'll do that because I don't want to spoil the one coming up. That's number 6, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Kendra said you have redeemed yourself.
Good. Yeah, I knew she would like that one because she loves that movie. This has come up on a lot of my lists. Maybe I just love the movie, but again, the music again is great. James Horner was the conductor or the arranger for this Apollo 13. It's just a few seconds of this. Yeah, just great music in that all the way through too. Mm-hmm. Very, if you've seen the movie, of course, very tense in scenes, but the music just drives the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah. James Horner also did Star Trek: Wrath of Khan.
Oh, God.
Yeah. God. And now my wife's going to hit me for saying that. She'll say Lord of the Rings and Star Trek.
Stop it.
Yeah, she'll be yelling at me like,
What the fuck are you doing?
I'm just giving my list of movies. So yeah, Apollo 13 is number 5. And that's, again, director or the composer James Horner. And great music throughout that. A great movie. Okay, here comes John Williams' next entry, which is going to, again, be a no surprise to anyone. Sure. And I didn't put the main theme in, but you'll know it as soon as you hear it. Yeah. There you go. John Williams.
The Imperial March here?
Yeah, Imperial March.
There it is.
So, of course, whether you like or hate Star Wars, the music is just incredible.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, and thinking that was back in 78. Yeah.
Yep.
So a note on John Williams. He did Raiders, he did Star Wars, he did E.T., he did, I'm missing a couple other big ones, but he also did all of the music for the TV series Lost in Space in the late 60s. Oh. At the time, he went by Johnny Williams.
Johnny. Hey there,
Johnny. What are you doing, Johnny? And even though that show, I as a kid, I loved it. It's a bit painful to watch now because it's a bit campy and unrealistic, of course. But some of the, again, if you listen to the music in that, it's really, really good from Johnny Williams when he was like, you know, in his 20s.
And he goes on to do Schindler's List.
Yeah, Schindler's List. That was another
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Jurassic Park. That was another one. Yeah. Actually, that I think I'm sure those were on the list for soundtracks as well.
Yeah, I like the Jurassic Park orchestra where there's a guy in the blow up dinosaur thing conducting.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
That's a great one. Okay, so number 4 is Star Wars, which of course the music is incredible. This one, again, you'll know it as soon as you hear a couple of notes of it. We got The Godfather.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a very specific style of music, but it drives, again, it just drives that whole movie.
You can't make that movie without music.
No.
And without the wedding and just the culture. You cannot encapsulate that culture without the music.
Absolutely. And and they're fantastic movies. And Nino Rota was the composer.
Better you than me trying to say.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first, but yeah. So yeah, that is number 3.
Right.
I haven't hit yours yet. I'm assuming, Jamie.
No,
I've not hit yours yet.
No, not yet.
I don't know if it'll be in there or not.
We'll see. No. It's pretty mainstream. So.
Is it mainstream? Pretty popular?
Yeah.
Older or newer?
Newer.
Yeah, it might not be in there.
Okay, good. Well, then we can talk about it.
Well, yeah, we'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Again, I do love the movie. A lot of people did, but a lot of people did not. But the music is fantastic. Hans Zimmer did the music for this.
Okay.
And it is Inception.
Oh, all right.
Just give you a couple seconds of that. Yeah, just great music throughout from beginning to end. Oh, yeah. Especially the whole premise of this is dreams and so the music just fit the whole story. It's well done. Great music. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're down to number 1.
Uh-oh.
Well, let me tell yours. I don't think my number 1 is yours.
It was Hans Zimmer had a hand in it. It was Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, that was I had that. I had to whittle the list down, but that was on my list.
It's just, and it reminds me of when you hit the what struck me when you played the Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. It's that phrase of just the song that you played, and that and Pirates has that phrase that when the action kicks in and they're running and they're doing, and it's that, and it's just, it makes me so happy because Johnny Depp is just such a goofball.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And everything in that movie is just so improbable and fun and well done, and the music just makes me giggle as it happens.
Oh no, it's great, and I had that. Yeah. I had to whittle things down, but that was definitely on my longer list.
Yeah. All right, so what's your number 1?
Okay, number 1, and this shouldn't be a surprise either. And I kind of feel bad. I don't feel bad a little bit because it's my favorite, but it's become a character of itself and kind of a joke. But it's Bill Conti. Rocky.
All right.
Just this piece alone.
Right.
Yeah, just that piece alone is worth the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Bill Conti, Rocky would be number one.
All right.
As far as film scores go.
Yeah, you needed that. The music had to happen for that to happen the way it did too.
Oh no, exactly. Because I mean, it was a long shot as it was.
Yeah.
Just like the character.
Right.
And of course, not to rehash his whole story, but they didn't want him to act in it, and he wouldn't.
Did he
do
act
it.
in it? Is that what you call that?
He did. He did, believe it or not. He was
like this in the background. What the fuck is it with you?
he did his best, I think.
I did.
I know. Yeah. I don't have any Stallone on my soundboard. I don't think. Oh shoot! I wish I had something for him.
Oh, great Odin's Raven.
That's close enough.
It is pretty much.
So yeah, folks, that's my top 10 movie scores. I went through so many. Honestly, I looked at Schindler's List. There's great music in that one.
Mm-hmm.
Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm trying to think what was on my. I should have brought the ones I had to eliminate as I kind of went through the thing here. Road to Perdition has some great music. Oh, the one I really had a tough time with that I eliminated was Green Mile.
Okay.
Yeah. That the music in that one is also just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember who that composer was. I'm going to look that up real quick.
Yeah, the Green Mile. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably one of the usual suspects.
I'm sure it was, and I think it's somebody I would know for sure if I saw his name, because most of these composers, like, John Williams, Hans Zimmer, James Horner did a lot of things. Who was the guy that did X-Men? John Powell. He's done tons of movies as well. I'm just looking at the. No, that's okay.
Yeah,
it'll come back later.
Right.
Oh, I almost had it. Hold on. One more. Okay, give me one more second.
All
People don't go anywhere.
It's here.
I'm here.
Come on, Google, talk to me.
No, we'll come back to it.
Fair enough.
I don't want to have you guys just hanging on for that for another 5 minutes. But yeah, so music is a great thing. I love it. I said at the beginning of the podcast, I am a bit of a movie snob. I can appreciate dumb movies and like Anchorman. I know it's not an Oscar winner, but I can appreciate it and like it and things like that. But there's something when you get music in a good movie, Yeah. Just totally makes it.
I love that your list was off the beaten path too. I
little bit.
Enjoyed that.
Couple off the beaten path. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, a couple were probably expected. Star Wars, of course, and Raiders, and I would have put more John Williams in there, but I could make this a top 10 John Williams list.
Really
honestly,
you
really could, as much as he's done. All right, folks, I think we're good. So we are going to be back next time, and I'll have a surprise subject for you since I haven't planned that one yet. But we will be back. Thanks for stopping in and listening. Again, wherever you're at, wherever you're listening, please subscribe and leave a review. I would greatly appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Change your thinking, change your life, laugh hard, run fast, be kind. I will see you soon.